ASC Lacrosse is Central PA's leading lacrosse store. Get the best selection, great service, and great prices, and receive loyalty points with every purchase at ASC Lacrosse now.
Welcome to All Access, sponsored by ASC Lacrosse. Our good pal Indiana Johns has left the studio for another treasure hunt, but we have the next best thing, LNP lacrosse reporter John Walk. John, good to have you back with us, and great timing too, because we got District 3 boys and girls lacrosse tournaments getting underway this week. First round games are on Tuesday, so let's start with boys lacrosse, where we have 3 Lancaster County teams that are going to be competing. First, number 2 Manheim Township faces number 15 Carlisle, and number 4 Lampeter Strasburg takes on number 13 Hempfield in a battle of LL League foes. So John, who do you like in these matchups, and any predictions for us on how far these teams can go?
Yeah, Hempfield and LS will be the third matchup between those teams this year. The first one, Hempfield won in the regular season, and then the second matchup last week in the LL League semifinals went to overtime. Teddy Mazahari won the faceoff, took it the rest of the way, scored the game-winning goal there. So this will be the third matchup. It should be a lot of fun. To add a bit more fuel to the fire, Lampeter Strasburg, this is their back-to-back years in district playoffs for the first time in program history. They made it to the districts for the first time in program history last season. They lost in the first round to Hempfield. So they have a bit even more to play for there. Manheim Township, meanwhile, they're in search of their second straight district title, and I think 6 of 8 overall if they win it this year. Just looking at the bracket, I think the toughest opponents ahead will be number 1 seed Wilson, and I believe Cumberland Valley is the number 3 seed there. Cumberland Valley faced Township in last year's district title game, and Wilson was in the district title game in 2013 and 2014. And of course, you got to keep in mind Hempfield and LS, they've played Township tough both times this year. I see Manheim Township, their side of the bracket, probably moving on to the district title game. We'll see what happens when they get there. LS and Hempfield, winner of that faces either Dallastown and Hershey. And I think that's a favorable matchup for either of those. So I don't see, it's not out of the realm of possibility of Hempfield or LS possibly making it to the district semis. We could be talking about either Hempfield or LS and Township this time next week.
Oh, interesting. So let's move on to girls lacrosse. We have 5 Lancaster County teams in the mix there. Starting number 6 Manheim Township, they're hosting number 11 New Oxford. 8th-seeded Hempfield takes on number 9 Governor Mifflin. The 7th-seeded Lancaster Triad hosts number 10 Central Dauphin. Number 15 Lampeter Strasburg visits number 2 Kennerdale. And number 14 Penn Manor travels to number 3 Susquehannock. So John, who do you expect to make it out of the first round, and which teams do you think have a chance to hang around on the girls' side?
Good job getting through all that, by the way, without stumbling. I'll
Appreciate
start with Manheim Township. They've won all 7 district titles since the tournament's inception in 2009. Looking at their side of the bracket, that half anyway, they shouldn't have any trouble getting back to the district title game. We'll see what happens when they get there. We'll talk about that next week. Hempfield, they're coming off an impressive showing in last week's LL League championship game. I think they lost by 6 goals to Township, which is Township's smallest margin of victory all year. So Hempfield kind of proved itself that, hey, we can hang with one of the district's best teams. But if they make it out of the first round, which I don't see them having any trouble doing, on Thursday they would likely face York Catholic. And York Catholic this year in the regular season, they beat Hempfield, Elizabethtown, Lampeter Strasburg, and the Lancaster Triad. So 4 of the 5 best teams out of the LL League, York Catholic beat. So it's going to be tough sledding for Hempfield. And Lancaster Triad, if they win, the winner of the Kennerdale and LS. Let me talk about Lampeter Strasburg. They're making the program's first ever appearance in the postseason, whether it be LL League playoffs or district, so it's pretty historical for them. But they do have to face number 2 Kennerdale in the first round. However, researching Kennerdale, they rarely challenge themselves outside of York Adams League competition, and they might do that for a reason, because looking back over their history in the District 3 playoffs, when facing a team from Lancaster County in districts, Kennerdale is 1-8. So I'm not counting out LS there. The winner of the LS and Kennerdale game will likely face the Lancaster Triad, and again, not counting out Lancaster Triad there, so possibly either LS or Lancaster could be in the district semis, depending if they can knock off, one of those 2 teams can knock off Kennerdale this week. And lastly, Penn Manor, they're the 14th seed. They have a tough first round draw going to number 3 Susquehannock, but again, hard to count the comments this time of year. Just kind of looking back over their history in districts, they own a 15-6 6 all-time record in districts, and they've only lost once in the opening round of districts in 6 trips. So hard to see Penn Manor falling out of this one, though they do have a tough first-round matchup.
Okay, well, thank you, John. That sets up everything for the playoffs, and that'll do it for another edition of All Access. Make sure to follow all of our coverage of the playoffs this week on LancasterOnline.com. For John Walk, I'm Keith Schweigert. Thank you for joining us.